Yeah, sure. So I'll just introduce Andrew. He runs the financebusinesspartner.com. He's written a book about finance business partnering. I've got to admit, before I met Andrew, I didn't entirely understand what finance business partnering is. I'd heard a lot about it, and I met Andrew when we were both speaking at the Management Accounting Conference last year. We did I think we did Adelaide, Melbourne, and Sydney, Brisbane. Yeah, we did four locations, and so Andrew would do. Hang on. You in the morning, yeah, and I was in the afternoon. And so I was doing dashboards. So he'd sort of like talk about the finance business partnering in general, and I would talk about dashboards in the afternoon. So I sat through your session at least once, if not more. Yeah. Yeah, so I thought it'd be great if he could just basically take that and sort of give us a really condensed version of it. So I'll just...
Thanks, Danielle. I'm not attuned to the types of people I've got in the room. So have we got CPAs here? Who's a CPA? Hands up. Or CA? CA, CPA?
I'm actually an associate for both
accountants. So we've mainly got accountants. Financial modelers, or do you just do financial modelling in your job as an accountant? So we're mainly accountants. A little bit analyst. But you've got your technical qualification in accounting.
Yeah.
So it's the generalisation that everyone here is technically an accountant. Excellent. That helps me. All right. This is my website. I am partner of APAC, of the Finance Business Partner, and I've got a partner in the UK called Andy. Get on that website. There's plenty of resources and stuff on there. All right. We are going to start with the question. Just have a think about this question for 10-20 seconds and then yell out to me what comes to your mind. How would non-finance people describe the finance team? Support? Yeah, what else? Just keep yelling them out.
Holding the purse string.
Okay. Purse string holders. That's 3 words. It's okay. Yep.
Planning, budgeting, obviously it's part of the process.
Planning, budgeting. Yep. Analysis. How would they describe them as behaviourally? Quiet. Pardon? They want your superannuation. What non-finance people want our superannuation. We're taking their superannuation. Righto, I've never had that answer, but that's okay. We'll go with that. No, I don't want to know what we do. I want to know how they describe us behaviourally, the types of people that we are.
We don't know what you do.
That's not directed at me. That's it. Okay. We'll just put that. Okay. They don't know what we do. Introverted. Profit obsessed. Yeah. Being counters. We always get that.
That time, bunch of stingy people.
But what was that?
At that time, when the company is going to bad time, to try to control the finances.
So controlling, is that?
I just thought it difficult because one of the salesperson said finance department is very difficult to deal with.
Difficult to deal with. I think we'll end it here. Difficult to deal with. You're all laughing. This is not uncommon. These are, if you were to look at words like this, and you said, I want to work in finance, and that's how you would describe me, who'd put their hand up and say, oh, me, get me a job there. Please, that's what I want to do. Okay, these are usually descriptors of the accountants in the finance team. Okay, and finance business partnering is not accounting. Okay, they're not the same thing. They're completely different things. And if we turn up being accountants when we're doing finance business partnering, that's what we'll be described as. And we won't be able to build rapport and relationships and bonds with people so that we can start to influence them. Yeah? We call this the accountant's paradigm. So the accountant's paradigm is A good accountant equals a good finance business partner. That's a paradigm. People know what a paradigm is? Paradigm's like a truth or a belief that you have in your head that you hold true to. This must be true. Okay, the best thing about paradigms is that they can be right and wrong, and we can change them. And the one we want to change is a good accountant equals a good finance business partner, because a good accountant does not equal a good finance business partner. They're completely different things, and they require completely different skills. And if we don't learn them, we're always going to be struggling in this area. Okay, who's just finished their qualification, CPA or CA, just become an accountant in the last 12 months? No one. Last 3 years? Last 3 years, yeah. 10 years ago or higher? Excellent, last 3 years. All right, I'm going to show you something. Most accountants believe that in order to be successful, our technical skills are what make us successful. Okay, so we go out and get CA, CPA, MBA, get all these letters after our names, do all these courses in the belief that it makes us successful. And it actually doesn't. So the people who are just recently qualified, congratulations, you're technically the most smartest you will ever be right now, and it just gets worse. So the people who are 10 years, you're getting dumber every single day. And it looks a little bit like this. Your technical skills start off really slowly. You start university and you start to study, and then you do your qualification, and they build up really, really, really quickly, really, really fast until you're technically as good as you'll ever be. And then you finish and you get the letters after your name and you feel really good about yourself, and then it just drops off like that. Until one day you're way over here like me and your technical skills around accounting are almost non-existent. Or they're defined by the role that you're doing in your organisation. Yeah. So I worked at Lend-Lease for a period of time. Anyone ever worked at Lend-Lease?
So I'm one of the non-executive directors of Bendigo Bank.
Right.
And we actually went from Lend-Lease down there.
Right. Okay.
BSQ, Darling Square.
Oh, rightio, the offices.
Yeah. We actually have our banks there.
Oh, rightio, where they've built it. Yeah.
Right next door to
Yeah. Big construction company, global construction company. I worked there for about 3 years, and when I was there, I was in a financial accounting role, and I had to look after share plans. Okay, anyone ever done share plan accounting? Who had it in their study manual and had it on their exam? And you studied it, and you get the exam question, and you think, who's doing this in their job? Well, that was me. That was me, one of probably 200 people in the country that had to do this every single month, and yet we make people read the standard and all that sort of stuff. I had to do it every month. Every month the share plan transactions came in, and I had to know the standard. I had to know how to account for them. It was a riveting job. Ask me back then, so this is 2006 to 2009, I was all over that standard, knew it back to front. If you asked me about share plan accounting, I could quote and recite sections of the standard to you. If you ask me about it now, no idea. No idea, I've forgotten it. I don't use it, I don't look at it, I don't care. I have no interest in share plan accounting whatsoever. So I was there, and now I'm here. Okay, so you're defined by the technical aspects of your job. If it's what makes you successful as a finance business partner, the technical, if that was what makes you successful as a finance business partner, the guys who have just finished studying, you'd be the best ones, you'd be the leaders, and the people in the organisation over here, they'd be the staff, right? So there must be something else going on that makes you successful as a finance business partner. Any thoughts on what that might be? People skills? Oh, not very dark. That's even worse. People skills, soft skills. What did you say? You said something else after that.
Business skills.
Oh, business skills.
Industry, maybe industry.
Yeah. What else?
Storytelling.
Vision, your eyesight. Having vision. Yeah, we're still in technical here. Strap. Yeah, that's pretty much what that is. Strat planning. Yeah. Storytelling. Yeah. I didn't actually ask a question. You guys just started jumping in, which is fine. What would you say? Adaptability. Yeah. So these are behaviours. Okay. So there's two things. There's two things that make you successful in an organisation. The first is getting your credibility. Okay. Without your credibility in the organisation, you can't start to influence people. Okay. Try and get influence when you have no credibility. It's pretty hard. No one will listen to you. Okay. So you've got to get your credibility, and your credibility looks like this. It starts off, you start to apply your technical skills. That's how you get your credibility. You start to apply your technical skills in an organisation. Now, when you start in an organisation, the work you're doing is just scripted tasks that someone's just said, here, can you just do this every day for the next 12 months? And you just do those tasks all the time. Then you start to run into problems and you start to fix things and you start to take all this business acumen skills and the stuff you learnt with your technical and you start to apply it in the organisation, and it starts to build up until one day you become quite senior and you spend your whole life in meetings talking about stuff. That's when it drops off and the staff are doing it for you. Within here, these are the problems that you're solving. The more problems that you solve and take your technical skills and apply them and solve problems, the steeper that curve comes. If you just sit there and do nothing and just do your tasks, you won't learn anything and you won't get any credibility. Okay, solving these problems in the organisation gives you that credibility. You see a problem, you solve it, and people go, oh wow, Andrew's really smart, he's able to solve this problem for it. And it's really, really easy. I went out to a warehouse once, I was partnering supply chain, went out to a warehouse and showed a woman how to copy and paste, and she'd never heard of it before. And she thought I was wonderful. So she told her boss I'd saved her 45 minutes a day by showing her how to copy and paste. And he told his boss, and I gained credibility because I knew how to copy and paste. My sister-in-law rings me probably 3 times a year, asks me can you do these numbers as a percentage for me? And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, oh, like 8 out of 72, what's that as a percentage? And I can't understand how she doesn't know this, but I can do it quite easy and I help her and she thinks I'm really, really smart. She doesn't know how to do it. These things that we find easy and can just turn it on because we've had the training, others don't, and you don't understand how easy it is to go out to people and show them this stuff that you think, how could someone not know this? It's everywhere. So don't be afraid to go out and solve problems in your business. Tax. When I studied, I did tax and I hated tax. So anyone in tax? Apologies if I... Yeah, I hated it. I was actually fearful of failing my tax exam because I thought it's just really hard. So I studied really hard because I didn't want to do it more than once. Once was more than enough. So I studied really, really hard and I got the best mark in the firm at the time for tax. Okay, I got like 1 or 2 marks off of merit, which, you know, was pretty exciting, but it was 20 wasted marks because you only need 51%. But I got through, and the institute would have you believe, or CPA would have you believe that I would have been the smartest person in the firm. If you had a tax problem, go to Andrew. He's really, really technically he knows this stuff. I'd never done tax return. I'd never solved a tax problem or anything like that. If you gave me a tax problem, I wouldn't know how to navigate through it. I wouldn't be able to do that. So you need to be able to apply your skills. You need to practice them in the organisation you're in, over and over again. Solve problems, fix things. Who likes cooking? Can you remember the first time you ever cooked something? Did you use a recipe? No? Never, you just tried stuff out. How did it taste? But the first time you did it, tasted alright?
I don't do toast, I do Asian food.
But you like the first time you made something, you've gotten better since then, haven't you? Or you're just brilliant to begin with. I'm coming around for dinner, this will be fantastic. Generally, when you're cooking, you'll start with a recipe and you'll just go through the recipe and follow the unless, you know, be like these guys, so you just get straight into it, but you generally follow the recipe, and then you'll get to a point where you might stuff something up and you don't know what's wrong with it, and you have to try and fix it, and you have to taste it and work out, well, what have I done here, and fix it. And you only get that through more cooking and more cooking and more cooking until one day you become really good and you don't even think about it. Okay, that's this going on. You need to practice it. It doesn't just happen. You need to apply it. And it builds your credibility in an organisation up. Okay? Once you've got your credibility, you can start to influence people. If you haven't got it, it's very hard to influence people. Anyone ever had someone come into their organisation and on day 2 they want to go in to talk to the CEO about the strategy and you want to get involved in everything? No. Just calm down, buddy. You just need to build your credibility up first. Any thoughts or questions on that?
The question will be, how do you create your credibility when you sort of in the media role up to trying to step up to the next level?
So how do you get your credibility with the people that might be 4 or 5 rungs above you on the ladder?
Yeah, because when you probably when you go into a new industry or when you go into a position, probably will start off.
Yeah, you will.
Sort of fairly junior role. How did you sort of gear up and sort of take off fairly quick?
Yeah, I wouldn't have that story in your head that you're starting with a clean slate. So they know nothing about you and you know nothing about them, and you can make it look whatever you want. You can sit on your hands and do nothing for 6 months. You won't get any credibility. Or you can start to solve problems. Find out what people are having issues with and help them. I'm having issues with this thing that I keep printing out and retyping in this screen. Okay, copy and paste it. So find out what people's problems are and just solve them. Because you'll be able to solve. Don't underestimate how many problems you can solve just because you've got good, strong training and knowledge you've picked up over the years. So that's the best way of getting your credibility. Find out what their problems are, and just solve them and see if you can help them. And how do you do that? Go and ask people. Can I help you? How can I help you? What's causing you pain at the moment?
I think that's very relevant for financial modelling in particular.
Yeah.
Building a financial model is often the result of a problem.
Yeah.
Build a model.
Yeah. Tell us what's going to happen. Yeah. Yeah. Getting away from your desk and talking to people. Amazing way to do things.
I'm just thinking about how to approach people in finance. I suppose it's easier when they come to you. I think I have a problem. I heard you have really good Excel skills.
Yeah.
Help me fix that. That's understandable. Like, how do you approach people when they haven't had a problem?
Just ask them in the kitchen. How are you going? How's the weekend? What are the kids doing? What's causing you pain at the moment? Bang, bang, bang. Some are. Some people love to talk. Like if you talk to them, just go and say hello. They don't shut up for about 20 minutes. Introverted people, a little bit different. But yeah, just talk to people and build your rapport and your relationships with them, and you'll be amazed at how much stuff comes out. If someone trusts you and you trust them, things happen very, very quickly. Yeah.
Some organizations, people, especially at the high level, and
They got egos. Yeah. Stakeholder management's a thing that I get asked about a lot. So you need to understand your stakeholders. Some of them have got egos and want to be bullies. Some of them are really nice people to hang around. I guarantee if you go up and talk to people and be nice to them and ask them about them and smile at them and do things like that, they'll tend to build a relationship with you. Who's read Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People? Best book you can read. Really simple things about how to win friends and influence people.
Can you say that again?
How to Win Friends and Influence People. Dale Carnegie. It's like an 80-year-old book. It's obviously been...
Golden,
yeah, it's golden. Everything in there stood the test of time. If you can build relationships and rapport with people. Who's ever sold something? Anyone ever worked in sales? Yeah, what's the first part of the sales process?
Understand what they want.
Yeah, before that. Build rapport. Build rapport. Build rapport, understand their problem. The first two steps, if you can get that right, that's 80% of your job done. Here, I've got a solution for you, solve your problem. You don't have to deal with rebuttals or anything like that. But the rapport is massive. Build that relationship and that rapport. And as accountants, we just think, why do we need to do that? This makes sense, do it. No, we're not. Other people don't think like that. All right.
You know, if you're able to get someone in your organisation to mentor you, to be your coach or mentor.
Yeah, especially if they're influential. If you spot someone in your organisation, geez, he gets all the good jobs. He's always involved in everything. He's really influential. Mirror them. Just slide in behind them and be their best friend, and they'll just drag you through the organisation really easy. And it's a cheat. You know, it's an FBP hack, but that's why we're here.
And you also find companies doing the same thing for years and years, and your experience with another company or change something.
Yeah.
And I go, wow,
Yeah, new eyes, unbelievable. Especially when you start somewhere. It can usually go one or two ways. You can go a bit mad and try and change everything, and everyone's like, don't come in here and change anything. Or you can pick up some things that the new eyes just pick them up. So that's building your credibility. The second thing is your behaviours, and with accountants, we're very meritocratic by nature, which means, you know, if I do good things will happen. If I do the right thing, I'll be looked after. A merit-based world that we believe is out there, that's not. Starts off our behaviours. We don't tend to think too much about our behaviours because we figure if I do all the work and all that sort of thing, I'll be looked after. So it starts off slow, and then we work out that's not how the world works, and it takes off really, really quick. And the quicker we can work that out and start to do the right behaviours, the better. When I say behaviours, things that you say, things that you do, way that you be, how you turn up, where you sit in meetings, who you sit next to, whether you sit with your arms crossed or not, your haircut, the clothes you wear, what you eat for lunch. Okay, these are all stupid, idiotic things, but I guarantee you everyone in your organisation is looking at these things and crafting some story out of it, especially if you've got egomaniacs in your organisation. They'll pick up little things that you do and go off over here and talk to John, who wasn't in that situation, about what you did, and they'll take a small little snippet and twist it into some story that they believe in their head. Because your brain's very good. When it hasn't got all the facts, it just fills in all the facts. Okay, so your behaviours and being conscious of your behaviours is massive. That's how you influence people. I'll give you an example of perception. When I worked at the place I last worked at before I did all this exciting stuff, on the leadership team, it was a leadership team of about 20, 25, and we used to meet sort of 3 times a year, go off-site, have a day or two where we'd meet. And we were meeting out just near Pier 1. There's a dance studio out there at the end of the pier. Okay, right at the end of the pier, right onto Walsh Bay. And it was June and the windows were open, so it was quite cold. And I had the weekend, but this is on a Monday, and that weekend I had a bit of man flu. I was a bit under the weather, blocked nose, a little bit of temperature, that sort of stuff. But this is an important meeting, so I turn up there, and most of the day, I was engaged and into it and trying to do that sort of stuff, but my energy levels were low. And there was times where I was sort of sitting in the corner with my arms folded and a bit cold and that sort of thing. But I thought I was engaged in the day. And I got feedback the next day from my director. He's like, how did you think yesterday went? I said, yeah, good. It was, some good stuff there, and I was involved and I enjoyed it. What was the feedback that you got? And he goes, well, the exec team didn't seem too happy with you. And I said, well, why was that? And he said they just picked up that you were disengaged and not interested and didn't really want to be there. And that's not a really good look for you and your brand and your reputation. Completely different to how I felt. Okay, they've just picked up. They didn't know I was sick. They didn't know I was feeling too well because I didn't tell anyone. They just saw me as someone who was disinterested and didn't want to be there. And then that story just perpetuates for the next couple of months because that's the story they've told themselves. Okay, so your behaviours are massive, and concentrating on them is really important. Who's ever seen someone get promoted and you think, how the hell do they get promoted? They're technically inept, their technical line's really low, they don't do anything, and yet they get promoted. It's because their behaviours are really good. Okay, they know what works in this organisation. Yeah. And now you're all sitting there going, well, why do I do my CPA then? It's very, very important, what Danielle was saying before. That actual badge and those letters actually just tell people instantly, I've done the technical and I'm probably coming up the credibility curve straight away. If you haven't done them, they'll think, well, I don't trust what you do. So they're very important.
I've never had that problem.
Right.
No, I'm now, I've been on board. I'm actually on board now.
Yeah, but how do you get around it? How do you...
Because I'm very good, I have a very good understanding of business and the technical accounting skills, financial.
But how do, if I've met you, so I've met you today, how would I know that?
I don't know, but I've come from WA and I was on a local council board for 6 years, audit and risk committee.
Yeah, no, I'm not doubting that you have the skills. What I'm saying is, if I've just met you and you say to me, I'm a CPA, bang, I know straight away. I know a fair bit about you. I know you've technically got a background and you're able to do stuff. If you didn't say that, how would I know? We'd have to spend a lot of time together for me to understand your credibility. It's like the financial modelling. If you've got that badge, straight away we know that. Otherwise, I have to spend a lot of time with you to understand, does she know what she's doing? Does she not know what she's doing?
I've never had...
No, I'm not saying you have that problem. I'm just saying it will take you longer because I've got to know that I can work with you.
I'm also, I've done corporate, and I've also done teaching for a long time. Teaching at university.
Yeah. I'm not doubting you have done that.
Yeah, so no one's
Actually had someone I know who decided not to pay their membership fees. Yeah. Who hates paying their $700 a year? What do you get out of it? Yeah. What do you get for paying $700 a year? Yeah. So why do we pay it? Why do we pay it? Because people value it. You can say to people, bang, I've done it, and they straight away know, okay, that technical line and that credibility is probably there straight away. Otherwise, you need to spend time with people to prove it, which you can do, which you've demonstrated that you can do. It just might take a little bit more time. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, or you go for the job interview, oh, you're not a CPA, and you probably have a longer job interview than what you would if you did it. Yeah. Even though you're probably the best person for the job. Yeah. Yeah, it's just little things like that. Perception. If our brain, if the information's not there, our brain will fill in the gap. All right, so I struggled with this. I used to sit, I still do, I mark CA exams. And you sit there in a room. Has anyone marked CA exams or CPA exams?
I'm doing CFS unit, so I'll be doing it next month.
Yeah, the CA, when you do CA and you mark their exams, you get this big grid. And you go down, you read the same question over and over again. There's 2,500 books at the back that people have written their answers in, and you just go and get a bundle, and you just read the same answers over and over again. And when they mention something, tick, you get a mark. Tick, 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 add up all the marks at the end. I was going through that process and reading an answer that was technically very good. They'd mentioned most of the stuff, and I'm reading it going, this person's clearly in Big Four here. They're definitely in Big Four because I can tell they've maybe learned the answers, or they've done a few past exam papers and they're mentioning everything. Right, very good technical answer. 16 out of 20. Well done. Read another answer, next one, or five papers later. Very good answer, very broad answer, but clearly works in an organisation and knows how business works. Really good answer. I want to hire this person. Really good answer. They've got a really good depth and breadth of knowledge here. This is a good answer. 12 out of 20. And I sat there and thought, this doesn't make sense. I know who I'd hire. Okay, this first one that got 16 out of 20, technically very good, and they probably work in a technical role. If they're in the Big Four, they're getting engaged, and clients are paying them for their technical knowledge. But if I wanted a finance business partner, I want this 12 out of 20 person, because their answer's really broad and they clearly get it. And I wasn't happy with that. I wanted to do something about it. So I went away and read about finance business partnering. This is about 4 years ago. And I developed a course on it, and I thought I want to try and work out what's going on here. So I did a fair bit of research. Has anyone ever Googled finance business partnering? Yeah, and what did you find? Find my website. Go on there tonight. Still there. Yeah, it's broad as. Very broad. You could find stuff from, I don't know, getting involved in strategy to how do you collect debtors. Yeah, it's broad as anything. And you're looking at it, you're going, what's going on here? I don't know if this is helping me. I'm reading stuff that I sort of already know, but do I know it, or is it just reminding me of things? Okay, it's finance people telling finance people finance stuff. Yeah, and you're reading it and you're going, I'm pretty sure I know this, and you're 3/4 of the way through and you just get bored of it and close. Okay, it's like people coming up to me about 15 years ago and saying, hey Andrew, are you going bald? And I'm like, yeah, no shit. Like I know, I look in the mirror every day at myself, I know I'm losing my hair. Or someone comes up to you on your birthday and says, hey, it's your birthday today. You're like, really? How would I not know that? Okay, so finance people telling finance people finance stuff is not helpful. It's why we're not getting progress in this space. Okay, we need to ask the people outside of finance. We're finance business partners and we're working with non-finance people. Okay, we need to turn up and find out what do they want. If they want an orange and we turn up selling them a lemon, what's going to happen? People are going to say, oh, finance isn't adding value. What are those finance people doing? What are they doing? That's where that comes from. We're turning up with a lot of lemons. I want oranges. Okay, so I wasn't happy with that, and I thought I want to do something about this. I want to find out what are the non-finance people wanting from us. The other thing I found is there's no framework. There is literally no framework for finance business partnering. Anything when you are struggling, if you can come back to a framework and go, rightio, if I apply this framework, I might be able to navigate through the choppy waters of what I'm doing. Okay, there's no framework on it that if you go, okay, if I tick these things, I might be successful. Or if I've got a problem, which one have I got a problem with and how can I solve for that problem? So I wanted to do a framework. So I came up with the quiet approach to finance business partnering, and I got instantly bombarded by a whole lot of finance people telling finance people finance stuff, saying, quiet, what are you talking about? We've got to challenge the business. I said, no, you don't. Go and ask non-finance people if they want someone to come into their office and challenge them. You know, that creates resistance. You want to be quiet. You don't want to go in and be condescending and challenging and argue with people and tell them what to do. You want to be a little bit more controlled, a little bit more measured, a little bit more composed, sort of sitting on their shoulder. I'd like you to do this, or you might want to look at this. A little bit more quiet. Just tone it down. I had someone on the other side of the world tell me, you should come up with something that's U and N and make it unquiet. And I just went, mate, you're done. Sorry, you've got no idea what finance business partnering is. You're still trying to work it out. So I came up with this quiet approach. What do we think? If these are the things, if you hit these, you'll be a pretty good finance business partner. If you've got a problem with something, try and find what it is, and there's some solutions to it. What do we think Q is? Qualified? No. Questions? No. Quality. Who said that? Yeah. Someone else said it. You just said, I did. Quality. If you don't have good information at your disposal, no chance of being a good finance business partner. So this is you with good people. So You ever had someone in your team who's really good and they leave and you get someone else in and they're not as good, or it takes some time to build up? This is this. You haven't got good people in your team or good human resources, very hard. Bad systems, you've got poor systems or spreadsheets that you've done some financial models that have some hard codes in them. Yeah, bad systems, bad processes, this pulls this apart. Anyone done a system implementation? And did it go really well? No, I don't think anyone's done a good one. And in that space, it makes it hard to be a finance business partner because to get information out just takes so long. It takes a long time. So you need to get your people right, get your processes, your systems right, and keep your standards to them very high. And it changes all the time. It's very fluid. Okay, things go wrong all the time. You've got to fix them. People leave, come and go. It's always changing, and every organisation's different. You. Pardon? Understanding. This one's on fire. Have you read my book or something? It's all over it. Understanding. Everyone usually gets U. I'll be interested to see if you get E. Because I reckon you'll get I. Understanding your role. So your role as a finance business partner. Understanding your organisation. And understanding the other people in the organisation. So when I say understanding your organisation, I call that organisational acumen. So if you went and worked at Coca-Cola and left there and went and worked in Pepsi, basically selling the same product, but fundamentally very different organisations. They do things completely differently. Their route to markets are different. They have different cultures. Their organisations are different. So you need to understand what's going on. How do they make money? At certain times they'll be focused on volume, and other times they'll be focused on profit, and other times they'll be focused on the people. And coronavirus is coming. Just cut all the costs. All that. How does the organisation respond when certain things happen? And then understanding other people. If you don't understand the people that you're partnering, you'll struggle. Okay, so people think about things differently. They take information in, process it, and display it to the world all very differently. It's called perception. If I gave you guys a feedback form at the end of this talk and asked you all to fill it in, it'd all be different. Even though you've all sat here and had the exact same experience, it'd all be different. Okay, that's perception. You've got to understand how others like to be spoken to and how they like to receive information. What? India, what did you say? Integrity, sorry, no. Information, no. Innovation? Influence? Oh, got him, no. Insights, yes, insights. If you're not bringing insight to the table, forget about it. You'll be doing all this work and it'll be for nothing. Because people want insight, they want value. So a lot of the time we bring data to the table. So data's the what, information's the why, insights, so what next, how do we improve? That's what you need to bring to the table. Creating a dashboard, Danielle hates it when I talk like this. Creating a dashboard is where finance business partnering starts. It's not where it ends. Okay, a dashboard is just data that's been structured and processed and come out and looks really, really nice. That's where finance business partnering starts. It doesn't finish there. You've got to take that and go and have conversations with people. It just gives you a surface level understanding of what's going on. It's like reading the ASX reports when Stock Exchange, when they release their half-yearly results. You can only get so much from those numbers. If you go and talk to the people, you'll find out so much more, and that's why analysts spend all their time interviewing the companies that they analyse. E. Now, just think about this. There's not much room. Oh, that's not going to fit there. What was that? Engage.
Engage with them. Engage.
Oh, engage. No. Ego. Oh, you don't want an ego. No, it's you want to control your ego. Ethos. Other people's egos. Ethos. So mindset, your principles, your values. Ethos is when I'm struggling to make sense of stuff, what's my principles that I come back to? Okay, what do I come back to try and make sense of the world? So my family, I tell my daughter and my son all the time, treat people the way you want to be treated. If you're struggling to make a decision about something and you're trying to work it out, treat people the way you want to be treated, and it'll guide you as to what you need to do. Okay, so this is ethos, and there's 6 principles that we came out of our research that we did. We did a whole lot of research, and there were 6 fundamental principles that came out that non-finance people wanted us to display, which I won't go into because there's a 4 or 5 hour workshop on that alone. T. Time. The time's really up here. Teaching. Technical, no. What was that? Teamwork, no. Trust, which is sort of teamwork. So trust. If you haven't got trust with the people that you're working with, no, forget about it. No chance. Everything slows down. Think about someone that you don't trust in your organisation. You got that person in your head? How hard is it to work with them? Yeah, you're just constantly thinking, what are you hiding? What are you up to? It just takes forever to do things, and it costs more. Okay, so you've got to build trust, and you've got to build trust with the team beneath you, who you're managing and leading, and there's certain behaviours that help you with that. There's different behaviours to build trust with people at your level that are outside of finance. Completely different behaviours. And then there's trust with the people above you. Your boss, your boss's boss, your boss's peers. What's the easiest way to build trust with the people above you? Deliver results. Get the numbers right. We did some research, and the number one thing they said, what do you want out of your finance team? And there's all this, we want innovation and we want all this. They want the numbers to be right first and foremost. Because if they're not, that's then hard to do. You ruin your credibility. You can't influence, it just falls apart. So that's the quiet approach. As I said, the course that I do does that, but we do workshops on all these different ones. And we can come into your organisation and survey the non-finance people and see what they're saying. Bring it back to this. Survey the finance team, see what they're saying. And they'll be very different. And that's where the opportunity is in that difference. Come back here. We're going to wrap up in a minute and then have some Q&A. It'll be 5 years' time, their role won't be there. The difference between being an accountant now and being one in 10 years' time is your ability to get off your ass and go and talk to people. There's so much more talking to people in the conversations around the drivers of the numbers than the spreadsheets, which are the outputs of the numbers. Yeah, so I'd actually have that conversation and say, you need to do this for yourself, otherwise your role just won't exist. Yes?
You talked about ethos. Could you state them and describe the 6 principles you use?
Sure. I'll write them down for you. How's that? And then you can just take a picture. So the way we just want to make sure I've got the dark pen. That's it. So the first one is get to yes, which is all about enablement. Are you enabling the organisation, or are you saying yes, no, approve, not approve, all that sort of stuff? You don't want to do that. You want to get things to yes. Someone comes to your desk with an idea and you think, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. You want to try and get to yes, because they think it's a great idea. Okay, you don't want to challenge their idea. You want to agree with their intent of what they're trying to do and try and get it to yes.
Sorry, I missed the question. What is that?
Oh, so in ethos, in the quiet approach, ethos, I talk about 6 principles. The 6 principles that came out of that. So we've got another half an hour here. Speak their language, which is all about empathy. So who's ever been to France? Yeah, gone into a shop in France and said, do you speak English? And what's the response you get? Get out of my shop. Yeah. some do speak English. Go into the shop and say, parlez-vous anglais? Do you speak English in French? What's the response you'll get? Little. I was in France last year. I was on a cruise on the River Seine, and the waiter came over. I'm in France. I want to speak his language. I said, "Parlez-vous anglais?" And he goes, "No, do you?" And straight away, there's a connection there, and we're having a bit of fun. So you got to speak the language and understand their world. Okay, that's what empathy is. 3 is keep things simple. So simplicity. Who wants to give me a definition of an accrual? Where's the lady who was in the back corner? She's gone. Try and explain an accrual to a non-finance person in 25 words or less. Like, seriously try and do that. It's quite hard, but if you can, you'll do well. Things like you want to get up and talk to people about 8 things, chisel it down to 3. Okay? Use analogies, use metaphor. There's all different types of techniques, but you want things to be simple. Email me later your answers on accruals. 4 is avoid emails, which is all about communication. And I could sit here and talk about this for the next hour. Avoid email. Get off emails. Go back to your office tonight and uninstall Outlook and see how your world changes. Because what option have you got if you haven't got Outlook? Yeah, you got to talk to people, and it's quicker. We can talk about 150 words a minute and type about 40 to 50. Yeah, body language.
I like to keep them as records though, and I find that they're useful later on.
Yeah, I always get that rebuttal. If you're keeping it records to unravel people, probably need to work on your trust with them. Because you don't need that if you've got a pretty strong trust, but if you need it for internal stuff, you sometimes need it. Can you just approve this? That's needed. Yeah. 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 Salespeople use emails to organise a meeting to start the conversation and to agree on what we decided. Everything else in between is talking. Yeah. Yeah. I hate them. If I can give you one rule, you get one reply. Once someone's emailed you, you get one reply, and then it goes back to them, and they write back. You're not allowed to reply again because that's a conversation, so go and have one.
But what about ones where they go, thanks, like people who continue to say thanks? Like they
or someone replies all, and you come back to your desk and you've got 87 emails of reply alls.
Someone asked me today, what's your view on saying, what he thinks of something, if you say thanks back to them? I just think it's overkill.
I used to get feedback you didn't say hi, how are you at the start of the email. So it's different. It goes back to this and understanding your audience. Some people, oh, thanks, I need to love you. Someone love me, please. Whereas others are just, other people are just robots and machines, and they're like, oh, I can't believe you said thanks. What a waste of time, wasting my time reading that email. So everyone's different. 5 is appetite to understand, which is all about curiosity. So how do you ask questions? How do you listen? Like really listen. A lot of the time we're listening to respond. Someone's talking and we're thinking about how am I going to respond to what they're saying, as opposed to actually concentrating on what they're saying. How do you ask questions? Open and close questions. Why? Don't ask why too much. It's a bit of a combative word, but you're trying to get an understanding of something, so you can use what, how, different words to do that. And 6 is the answer to any question you'll ever get as a finance business partner. It depends. Someone comes up to you, Andrew, what price can we go to on this? It depends. On what? Lots of stuff. Called context. Okay, today the answer could be this, tomorrow the answer could be that. And the difference between the two is a thing in the middle called context. Okay, so you've got to understand context. If you spend all of your time just understanding context, good start. That will define what you do. That pretty much finds its way into all these.
So Andrew, you were able to make those, some of that content available so I can send you that?
Yes, yeah, I'll PDF a copy to Danielle of what I just went through.
You tick the box.
Yeah, and she can send that around. You can just Google my book. There's a book on all of this. You can come to my course. Get on LinkedIn. Contact me on LinkedIn. Ask me questions. I like talking. I don't like email or messaging you back on LinkedIn, but you know, that's the forum. So we'll go with it. You can go to a networking event and just go somewhere and just ask the person questions about them and get them talking about them, and they don't ask you any questions about you. You don't say anything, don't disclose anything about yourself. You just ask about them. They'll leave the networking event and go, I met this guy called Andrew last night. He was fantastic, top bloke. And you haven't told him a thing about you. Yeah, it comes from the book. Get them talking about themselves. There is.
Like switch. The like switch.
The like switch.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that one.
It's about what is it called? A Secret Service officer. He wrote a book about how he actually used body language and communicate. Just body.
Yeah, body language is massive. In my course, we go through books you should read. One of them's a body language book.
Yeah. He actually gets his clinical information without them.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything. They just his information.
Yeah. Body language is huge. You can go to a restaurant. I can sit in a restaurant and look over there at a married couple in the restaurant, and I know they're a married couple because of their body language, and I can look over there at the people who are on their first date, and I know that from their body language. Can't hear what they're saying, no idea what the words are, just picking up body language. It's huge. You don't get that on a computer screen.
I know about reading books, learning how to small talk and reading books, so to get out
Yeah.
to start talking to people, practice.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think that just gives you little techniques. The body language one gives you techniques, but the best way to pick up body language is to spend time with people.
It's a bit of psychology as well. It's like going to a networking event when you're trying to get business. Yeah. It's that you go in there with an agenda and they can smell it.
Yeah.
So that's, you go into it going, I'm calling you because I want to help you.
Yeah.
So it's just all about the psychology of why you're calling them, and then you think I'm doing them a favour by telling them something they need to know about. You want to
I need your help with something. It's a subtle language change.
Well, thank you so much, Andrew.
It's all right.
That was fantastic. I really liked that. So yeah, there's some really good messages.
That's 2 days of my course in 45 minutes.
I did a dashboard course today. I ran a training course on dashboards with Veronica. Was there, and I invited her and the other people along and said, look, he's going to bag the dashboards thing. And I knew you were going to do that.
No.
I like what you said about the data being, so the data is the what.
Data's the what.
And information is
the why, and inside is the so, what next, how do we improve?
Yeah, and I think that's what we want to get to, particularly with financial models or with dashboards or whatever kind of analysis we do. Yeah, we want to get from, okay, here's the information, to what are we going to do with it? What's the next step? Like, what do what does this actually mean for you? How does it help you make decisions in the business? Where we can really add value as financial.
Yeah, the visualization's important because accountants love tables of numbers. Profit loss, balance sheet, tables and tables of numbers, we love them. We can sit there and look at them until the cows come home. Everyone else hates them. They hate them. So visualising the... I know, it's a crazy world out. It's a crazy world out there. They're all buying toilet paper.
So we've got a few things coming up. We've actually got a special bonus session. I actually already had a couple of things set up. And then Jeff Robson is from Analytical, and he did an amazing video the other day he runs a very similar one to this in Perth. And he did this amazing video the other day on dynamic arrays, the new features that are coming out. He's a financial modelling specialist. And he did this video on, he built a sort of a financial model using dynamic arrays. And he did this video on it, which I thought was amazing. And I said, when are you going to be sitting next? And he's given me a date, and I've managed to talk him into coming and doing some, telling us all about the new dynamic array in Excel 365, so that's really exciting. The one after that is going to be the preparation for the exam. That's the session that I'm running. So that's kind of a bit of an extra one as well. And so they're kind of like we've got ones every couple of weeks over the next 6 months. And then after that, we've got the business of financial modelling. This is going to be really interesting. We are often practitioner financial models. We're in organisations building financial models for our companies, but to actually run it as a business, like I do, I go into organisations to build financial models for other people. How to actually run that as a business, I think is quite interesting. A lot of people are sort of interested in that. You know, if you were to become a consultant, go on your own. So that's going to be kind of interesting. We've actually got another one in between there. I haven't got the details on that one yet, so there will be another one in May. And then professional negligence. Oh, yeah. I'm actually scheduled to be in Kuwait that week. I'll probably be here at that one. I mean, which is great because I think the legal thing will be really interesting. So that's it. Thank you so much, Andrew.
No problem.
I'll see you guys all in a couple of weeks at the end of the month. So see you then. Thank you.
Cheers.